You're watching the number one podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, and I'm your host, Jean-Paul Leek. You guys already know the show. It is the original Rope Break, and here we are, special edition night, Saturday edition of AEW Dynamite. I'll be taking care of this show. We got Juan, he's going to be taken care of tonight. Impact Bound for Glory, so stay tuned for that. Make sure, after you're done watching this, you watch Bound for Glory. It'll be on the channel soon. So, guys, hockey is on Wednesday, so that's why now Dynamite's on Saturday. And, they're really trying to give us, I think, special shows. They're really trying to bring the viewers in on Saturday. And this show, in some aspects, again, it was a really good, solid show. I liked it. And other aspects, not so much. But, let's get into it. It started out with the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament match, Dustin Rhodes versus Bryan Danielson. And this was good. This was definitely a lot better than I would say his match, Dustin's match that he had with Malakai Black. But, it was Bryan, I would say, looked good early on. Then Dustin kind of, he made his big comeback after he fought out of submissions. He looked good in this, but eventually, Bryan, he was the one who he got the submissions holds. He looked strong. He's going to be the clear winner, I think, of this tournament. So, he eventually got, the submission in and the ref stopped this thing. So Bryan wins, like I said, right winner. And we already saw that he's going to be the one to, he got the body scissors, and that's, what caused the pretty much, like I said, the ref to call it. So he moves on. He's going to be the winner, I think, to challenge either Omega or Hangman Page. We have to wait and see. So then we see Omega with the Young Bucks and Cole, next week it's them versus the Dark Order. And then Omega says Page is afraid of failure, and it's burning through the number, and he's burning through -1's diaper supply. These people really knew Page. They wouldn't be chanting cowboy shit. They'd be chanting coward shit. So, pretty good promo by him. He like the Bucks, of course, they had to make it like, ooh, that was a good one. And they had to make it goofy afterwards. But, pretty much overall, Omega did a decent job here. But, again, if you present him in a different way, I think he'd be a lot more over. People would take him more seriously. So then we see a video package of the tag team titles. FTR says that they're proud to be the AAA tag team champions, but they want the AEW titles. That's what we're all saying. And that's what it needs to lead to. And I think FTR needs to go over it. The fans have been saying these guys need to be presented legit. You brought them in. They look good. They lose to the Bucks. They've been nothing since. Now you're finally trying to present these guys legit. I like it. So then we see Tony Schiavone. He's in the ring. He introduces Sting for an update on Darby Allin. But before he can say anything, MJF's music hits. That was great. Total, the crowd popped big for that. They love to hate MJF, and or they hate that they love him, either or. He comes out to the ring and he said he's not here to start a fight. He wants a gentleman's chat. He says that the truth is Darby Allin isn't coming back. They start chanting, shut the fuck up. Then they start getting into it with MJF. And he says everybody who's been a friend with Sting has left him because of Sting's negligence. Darby's just like his ex-best friend, Lex Luger, in a wheelchair. So obviously, the deep cuts there. MJF don't pull no punches. Sting gets pissed. He attacks him, but Spears comes down. Wardlow, they attack Sting. They beat him off, beat the hell out of him, with the chair and everything. So they leave him laying there. And then Spears sets up a chair. He said, did I mentally break you now? And they can chant your name all they want, but this is your future. You will always be second best to me. So really good intensity here from MJF and all that. They beat up Sting, and that's, Sting's a 60-some-year-old man. This is good to see him get beat up, like nothing, because that's, unfortunately how he should be presented. Like I said, he's an old man. They beat him up. This is good. Is this going to be finally enough to fire up Darby Allin? I think it needs to be. I think he's going to come back maybe next week or so, depending, if they have MJF on next week's show or not. But I think next time we see him, we're going to see Darby Allin. So I'm looking forward to that. So then we see Schiavone. He's with Britt Baker, and she will face Ty Conti at Full Gear. And all Ty Conti does is show her ass, while Baker does is show why she's the AEW World Champion. She said, bring that ass that you like to show to everybody to Full Gear. I'll kick it, and I'll still be, the champion. DMD. So good stuff there from Britt. Then we see Penelope Ford. She makes her way entrance, and Ruby Soho is out next for the TBS title tournament match. So this is the second of 3 tournament matches. And what can I really say? I mean, Penelope Ford, I feel she's like Alexa Bliss. She's as good as she's going to get. She is what she is. You have to accept it. Ruby Soho, I like. She makes you care about the matches she's in because you want to see her win. You want to see her succeed. You have the Bunny come out in this, get involved, but then she's a non-factor and everything. I mean, I don't know. Ruby Soho got the win. She gets a roll up. The ref, the brass knucks. It's all distraction. It's all bullshit. But Ruby Soho wins. That's the most important thing. Moving on. So then, the Ford and the Bunny, they face Soho, but Red Velvet, she runs down to make the save, and then the heels scatter. So MJF's backstage with Shawn Spears, and he says that tonight, he sent Darby a message. Wardlow asked what was up with that bullshit from last week, throwing him in front of Sting. And he's like, hey, it was an accident. It's fight or flight. I got scared. I didn't mean it. And he says he's been putting a lot of pressure, so he's going to give him an accountability buddy in Shawn Spears. So ripping off South Park here. But hey, that's fine. South Park, they have more viewers than AEW ever will. So might as well rip them off. So let me see Bobby Fish. He makes his entrance, and Anthony Green is already in the ring. So this is pretty much, he just beats the shit out of a jobber, and it's all just set up to Angle afterwards. But this is great because he doesn't leave. He continues beating up this jobber, kicking his ass. Like I said, just beating him up. And he locks in, starts choking him out. But CM Punk eventually runs down. He makes the save. Fish says, I want you. So we're going to see Bobby Fish versus CM Punk. This is going to be great. Like a little indie-rific dream match, but it's still going to be really good. I'm looking forward to it. So let me see Shivani. He's with Leo Rush, Dante Martin. Rush says he does things big and he will mentor Martin. Martin says that Seidel is one of the best in the world because Leo Rush was kind of running him down, saying I could beat him. You could beat him. I could definitely beat him. All this stuff. And he said their first match as a team will be against the Seidel brothers. So then we see Lance Archer. He makes his entrance, and Eddie Kingston attacks him from behind. They both brawl around the ring, pull a fan into the barricade, slam him into Kingston, all this stuff. They eventually get this started, the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament match. And this match, these two guys are not the most technical wrestlers. They're brawlers. I couldn't get into this. And, it eventually, King, he had a concussion. He missed the moonsault and he landed right on his head. So that was pretty much the end of it. A guy that big, that size, it's impressive that he can do this stuff, but should he really do it? Probably not. Hopefully he's all right. And, he recovers fine, but a concussion. So then Archer, he rolls to the outside. The doctors check on him, but he kind of it's like an Owen Hart finish. Let me just roll you up here. 1, 2, 3. So the winner, Eddie Kingston, he moves on. So let me see commercial breakdown. After that, the men of the year and Dan Lambert there in the ring. Page says that the Inner Circle sucks, but they beat up twice. Hager's undefeated in MMA, but with Sky pinned him and at Grand Slam, and Santana and Ortiz are from the streets. They act like they're tough, that they don't run away from anything, but where are they tonight? Where's Jericho? So they pretty much just run him down and everything. And, then Sammy comes out. He tells him to shut up. And, he says he's done bitching and he pretty much accepts their stipulation. He's like, tell us what it is. Lambert said he's proud that he comes out here. He has the balls to do this. I love the line. He's like, oh, I found out you don't just suck on the stick. Like, saying like he's no good on the microphone, but obviously sucking on a stick, another innuendo. So good stuff there, good heel line there, cutting Sammy Guevara up. And he says that Full Gear will be Inner Circle versus America's Top Team. And if Sammy puts his TNT title on the line against Ethan Page, and, if he loses, he must leave the Inner Circle forever. So this might be a way to kind of get him out of that, get him on his own singles run so he doesn't have to worry about, the Inner Circle kind of, being part of his momentum. He can just be on his own, finally, which he accepts and everything. So this is good. We see, they try to beat down Sammy afterwards. We see the Inner Circle. They come out, make the save. No Jericho, Hager and all them. So, hyping this up. And this is okay. It could be done a lot better. There's certain things when Jericho's not here, it's definitely more tolerable like it was tonight. So then we see John Moxley. He's backstage. He says he's supposed to be yelling and screaming, but that's not what's on his mind right now. It's his daughter. His daughter's the only thing he can think about. He doesn't care about this wrestling crap, this tournament, anything like that. He only cares about his daughter. But you know what? If winning this and winning the belt and winning all that means money to provide for his family and his daughter, he's going to do it. He said, I'm going to win this whole thing. I'm going to beat everybody. Nobody's going to get in my way. So, Moxley, I like the way he kind of does his promo. Sometimes they're a little wordy. This one kind of took you on a journey to get there, but it eventually got there. Good stuff. So, and the Dark Order, we see them backstage. And they say last week's loss was hard. Then Hangman Adam Page shows up. They get excited. He's like, hey, guys, I'm sorry about, not reaching out to you sooner. But, you have the match with the Elite and it's going to be Halloween. They're going to like to dress up. So we should dress up. So obviously all the momentum Hangman Adam Page had back, coming back. Great promo he cut last week. Now he's going to buy these guys Halloween costumes, pretty much just, like running into a brick wall for me with momentum and credibility. But, hopefully, we can just forget about segments like this. So we see Jungle Boy. He makes his way to the ring to go against Brandon Cutler. This is exactly what you thought it was real quick. He beats him up, taps him out, beats this guy, snare trap done. Then after says, he's like, that was a good warm up. Let's, see what, he's like, send out somebody else. Eventually, nobody comes out. So he locks Cutler in the snare trap again. But then Adam Cole comes out. He's like, you're an embarrassment. Why do you just beat up guys like this? You should be ashamed of yourself, everything. So Jungle Boy knocks Cole off the apron. But then the Young Bucks come from behind. They attack him, double super kick, everything. They just beat this guy down. BTE trigger, beat the shit out of him. They throw him off the stage, pretty much through the production table, all that stuff. He's taken out completely. And, so this big beat down from Jungle Boy. So, we obviously see that feud continue. This was pretty good. And, but it's all, is it Hangman and Page? Like I said, sometimes the one thing, this was good, but it's good on its own. But when you think about all the other storylines, how does this all intersect? Aren't they feuding with the Dark Order? But then there's Christian with Jungle Boy, but he's not with the Dark Order, but Hangman and Page is. So there's too many pieces, and that's the only kind of thing that gets a little confusing and doesn't really make too much sense. But then we see, they run down next week's card for Rampage at Dynamite. We see a video package from Miro, and, he pretty much just says that he's going to do this now on his own. He's not going to become God's champion for God. He's going to do it for himself because, he's like, you forsaken me. You took the belt off me, everything. So, but the way Miro delivers this promo, you feel like he's a gladiator, fighting in like the Coliseum or something. This guy's great, fantastic. So I love everything. Like I said, if he doesn't beat Sammy or, put the belt on Ethan Page in a fluke, Ethan Page holds it for 2 weeks. He jobs out to Miro. Miro's back to champion or something, because you got to make Miro look legit. He was so good as a TNT champion. I wish he still was. So, we see these guys, they make this entrance. It's time for Cody and Malakai Black 3. And I was really hoping Malakai Black would have won this thing. But, that's not the story they're telling. Unfortunately, it was Cody was one of those guys like Chris Jericho. I'm going to challenge you for a rematch and a rematch and a rematch and a rematch until I get my big win. And that's pretty much what happened here. And this was okay. This really wasn't my favorite. I don't know if it was the worst. Definitely a lot of stuff. You saw Brock Anderson, you saw Lee Johnson, they came out. Malakai Black did the same thing with the chair, where it's like, he brings the chair into the ring, then the other guy gets in. It's like, are you going to hit me? All the mind games, everything. A big spot that took place right as they were, ending the last commercial. So we just missed it. He did a crossroads through the table off the apron. So, you missed a big spot because it's in the commercial. I don't know why because this was such a big match, you couldn't have done something where this was no commercials, but, again, maybe time it better, do somewhere like, hey, we're still commercial, so have some kind of light on the camera, some kind of indicator or something. But, this was all right. We didn't see no black mass. He didn't kick out of a black mass or anything, but Cody eventually, he hit the crossroads and he picks him up, and you think he's going to hit another crossroads, but he picks him up and kind of just hits like Excalibur called it a tiger driver, but, almost kind of like a tombstone like that. And he pins Malakai Black 1, 2, 3. And that's pretty much the end of it. So, where does Malakai Black go from here? Like we said, he had all this momentum. He loses to Cody, and Cody is hated. People hate the roast to the top reality TV show. Nobody likes Cody. This whole Arn Anderson and everybody slapping him, beating him up. People think it's funny, but it's funny to laugh at it, not like it's funny that it's good. So, I really don't know what you do with either of these guys. I think this was the wrong decision. But, they're going to do what they do. But, guys, that was Dynamite. Thanks so much for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments. Did you like the show? Were you fine with Malakai Black winning? What did you, think of this show? Do you like it on Saturdays? Do you prefer it Wednesdays? Let us all know in the comments and give a thumbs up to the video. Make sure you subscribe, share it. You can follow us on all of our social media, Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. And of course, right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community. So family, like I said, stay tuned later tonight, early in the morning. Actually, I guess tomorrow morning, early time, we're going to have Bound for Glory. So stay tuned for that for your Sunday morning, and we'll see you then.